Imagine if you're a Major League Baseball player, Corey. You're a young baseball player. This is your first season. Man, you're a rookie. You got to get hits. You got to play the field. So now baseball goes down to 60 games. COVID is all over the place.
I can't imagine that would.
You got to play ball.
Yeah, I'm playing.
If you don't play, you're going to lose your career potentially, right? You only got 60 games to prove yourself, not 180 anymore.
Right. And
this is do or die for you. You've got to go play ball. Okay. Let's say it's 8 years later. You're making $20 million a year. You got $100 million in the bank or $12 million, whatever it is. Now you got a couple young kids rolling around. Now you're a baseball player. Now you say, oh, wait a minute. I got money. I got a wife and young kids at home. I can't take the chance. Is it fair and reasonable for the baseball player to do that? I think it has to be fair and reasonable. So what about the school teacher who says, listen, I would love nothing more to come back to work, but I have asthma or a pre-existing condition, or I'm scared to come back to work. So does that person get paid or not? Well, COVID is not defined as a disability that's covered under unemployment or any kind of benefits program. So it becomes a real perplexing dilemma. And I'll be curious to know what your position is on this, and we can talk about this next week. But if you're offered your job back, Corey, baseball player, football player, hockey player, or delivery guy, if you're offered your job back and you're truly scared to come back to work, should you get paid? Well, right now you are, because of the $600 a week that the federal government is providing it, right, Corey? Right. So you know that if you lost your job here, you'd make almost about the same money with the changes in unemployment, correct? Pretty close?
Correct, yeah, but for how long?
But for how long? So the fact of the matter is we all have a real crisis, and we have to understand that the person who chooses not to go to work and makes that choice, should they be penalized for it? Well, I'm getting it. And I understand the difference between the young athlete and the old athlete. And it's shared that it's scary. And one could argue discriminatory, but it's really not. But these are the kinds of things that make people say something is discriminatory when it's not. It's more circumstantial. For example, Corey, if you're that young guy who has no money and you've got to go back to work and you get sick, I could say after the fact that the disease was discriminatory and took out more poor people because people with money didn't go back to work.
Yeah.
Is that discrimination?
I don't even know where to even start with that.
Well, so those are the kind of fuzzy lines when words get said. So this is a personal choice. Corey has no money. In this pretend situation, let's use Joe, not you, Corey. Joe has no money. Joe has to go back to work. Paul has money. He doesn't have to go back to work. Joe goes back to work, gets sick. There's millions of Joes who got sick because they went back to work, and there's more sick Joes than there are sick Pauls.
Right.
Now we can say that COVID has targeted the poor. But I'm not certain there's any solution to that.
It's almost like it's a matter of survival at this point.
And it's my grandfather used to say, water seeks its level, right? You can't stop that. Water comes up, water comes down. There are certain things that by effect become discriminatory. Certain elements of our society are impacted more than others. But that isn't discriminatory. That's circumstantial. Right. Years ago, people lived on mountains. And the higher you lived on a mountain, the richer you were. So when it flooded, the people on the bottom of the mountain got flooded, not the people on the top of the mountain. Right. So one could argue that only poor people got flooded.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that these definitions and these words are thrown around often to create that divisiveness, and we can't bite in.